Hey, welcome back to the channel, and I promise you right now, this is not going to be an RE20 versus SM7B video. It's not a fight. It's not a competition. This is a comparison between two microphones that often get lumped together because they are large diaphragm broadcast studio dynamic microphones, right? But that's literally the only similarity they have. Other than that, the way they look, most importantly, how they sound, and you'll hear it in just a second, they are entirely different. And how would you know? Do you own one of these or the other? Are you sure you own the right one for what you're trying to do? Or are you getting into upgrading your microphone for the home studio and you've heard about these two, you see them everywhere, you just don't know which one to invest in? So that's what I'm here to try and help you figure out through the course of this video. I own both these microphones. I've used each one of them a ton. I understand what they're about. I'll begin here shortly with my overall themes for each one of them. But first off, I need to tell you, why am I starting this video by talking into a Neumann U87 AI? Well, this is the everyday driver, but I'm also trying to cleanse your acoustic palette, right? I want you to hear this first so that when you hear the other two side by side later on, you can understand what they're about and how they contrast. Okay, let's get into some overall thoughts here, beginning with the 7B. It does have the darker sound versus the RE20 and versus most mics. What do I mean by darker sound? I like to describe it such as this. It's kind of like film cameras versus a digital camera. Those of you old enough to remember this, congratulations. What you would get from a film camera is obviously a print, but that print would usually have the photo with less detail, maybe less definition. It doesn't mean that it wasn't a quality image, like it's in focus and the colors are good, but it just kind of has that magical feel to it that only film can bring. Versus digital, which is maybe the RE20, which sometimes has a lot of detail, maybe even too much detail. It seems too real. Maybe there's even some pixelation around the edges. The RE20 is that digital camera and the 7B is the film camera. A lot of people still prefer that smooth, polished look of film. And yeah, I'm going to get back to sound here. That's how the SM7B sounds. It's got a little bit more smoothness and polish, and some would say the darker sound. By the way, take the wind foam off the microphone, try it without the wind foam, and then on. I think any wind foam you put on that microphone makes it an even darker mic. And yeah, you can turn on the presence boost switch on the back. That will change the signature and the sound of this mic, but it's still overall a pretty dark microphone. There's no question it's also the more popular of these two mics. And I don't necessarily know how we got it to be that way. I mean, I understand how it perpetuated. I truly feel like in the last 10 years, people have seen it on a podcast or a YouTube video, and then they start their own home studio and they say, well, what's that person using? That's what I need to have. Well, it's the SM7B. Is it good? I don't know. They're using it. It must be good. It's a difficult mic. It needs good technique to sound its best. It needs proper gain staging. It needs a good preamp, like most dynamic mics do. And I'm not sure everybody even has that to offer this microphone, or they're using it the right way. They just see other people using it. So I'm not knocking the SM7B. It is a top-tier dynamic microphone, but I don't know that it necessarily should be by far the class president most popular mic used in content creation these days. It also needs a fair amount more gain. I'll estimate now like 5 dB more of gain than the RE20 and most dynamic microphones, which is not necessarily a problem, but at about 60 dB of gain required and necessary, that's kind of pushing the limits on what most interfaces or preamps can even give you. So you're kind of living right on the edge with the 7B to get enough sound out of it versus the RE20, which can plug into pretty much anything and be powered. No problem. Okay, that's the 7B. Here's the RE20. Also very popular. And look, if the 7B is the king of content creation, the RE20 is still the dominant microphone across radio production studios across the country. Like, this thing is really around the world. You can walk into any radio facility and find an RE20. Even among the condensers and the Neumanns and the thises and that, you will find RE20s in every radio station worldwide. There's no question about it. It does have a more broadcasty sound. Even with the variable D technology, there still is a nice, hefty low end to this mic. The mids are pretty clean. The highs are present. I wish they weren't maybe so spiky on the frequency response curve. Like there do seem to be some areas that are more pronounced than others when you get anywhere from probably like 5 to 10,000 hertz, but I digress. It's got presence to it. The RE20 does cost a little bit more, about $50 right out of the box, but it also needs a shock mount, which is not included. The SM7B has the built-in yoke, so you will be spending anywhere from $50 to maybe even $100 if you want the proper Electro-Voice shock mount for this microphone. And then last but not least, I struggle with this one. People say, well, the RE20 doesn't look good on camera. The SM7B looks sleek and dark and professional on camera. I can't buy that. I love the battleship gray of the RE20. Nothing says professional, broadcasty like the look of the RE20. Now, maybe that's just my opinion, but does it even matter? We're here to capture sound. Yeah, it's going to probably be present in your video in a 6-inch distance from the broadcaster, the speaker's face. But does it really matter how the microphones look? Maybe to you it does, but to me, not so much. Okay, enough talking from me. I want you to hear samples of both the SM7B and the RE20, dry and then fully processed. RE20 completely unprocessed. The Electro-Voice RE20 is an industry-standard large diaphragm dynamic microphone. Shure SM7B completely unprocessed. The Shure SM7B dynamic microphone has a smooth, flat, wide-range frequency response appropriate for music and speech in all professional audio applications. Used worldwide on applications ranging from broadcast and voiceover to kick drums. It uses Electro-Voice's patented variable D design to control the microphone's proximity effect. In addition to its standard windscreen, it also includes the A7WS windscreen for close talk applications. The Shure SM7B is an industry-standard dynamic microphone. This allows the microphone to be used very close to a source without losing clarity, as can happen to other microphones due to the increase of bass response from proximity effect. It has been the flagship of Shure's dynamic mic product line for years and has a reputation for being a go-to studio mic for numerous sources, including vocals. Electro-Voice RE20 fully processed. The Electro-Voice RE20 is an industry-standard large diaphragm dynamic microphone. Shure SM7B fully processed. The Shure SM7B dynamic microphone has a smooth, flat, wide-range frequency response appropriate for music and speech in all professional audio applications. Used worldwide on applications ranging from broadcast and voiceover to kick drums. It uses Electro-Voice's patented variable D design to control the microphone's proximity effect. In addition to its standard windscreen, it also includes the A7WS windscreen for close talk applications. This allows the microphone to be used very close to a source without losing clarity, as can happen to other microphones due to the increase of bass response from proximity effect. The Shure SM7B is an industry-standard dynamic microphone. It has been the flagship of Shure's dynamic mic product line for years and has a reputation for being a go-to studio mic for numerous sources, including vocals. Well, there you go, the RE20 and the SM7B, and hopefully those samples are really what helps you seal the deal. I know you're listening to my voice and not yours, but you can understand the tonal differences between these microphones and maybe what you're trying to achieve. Again, I've got no right answer for everybody. I'm not here to say one is better than the other. The 7B has its benefits and its flaws. The RE20 does some things well, and other things I wish it could do differently or even better. So I can't recommend one or the other. I'm here to tell you, you're probably going to be really happy with both of them, but why not nail it? Why not get this right if you're trying to find the differences between these two mics? I didn't really want to go back and evaluate and criticize the samples and tell you what to look for. I want your ears to do all of the judging on that. Thanks for being here. Thumbs up on this video if it provided you any value. And hey, consider subscribing to Home Studio Pro. I've got lots more great stuff coming out right around the corner.